Risky behavior.
The views and opinions expressed on this channel are solely those of the host and guest and are intended for entertainment and discussion purposes only. This channel does not promote bias, hatred, or discrimination of any kind. All questions posed and thoughts shared are part of a critical thinking exercise and are not meant to offend or judge any individual or group. We encourage respectful dialogue and love for all. Please remember to think critically and engage thoughtfully. We aim to foster a positive and inclusive community where everyone feels welcome. Thank you for being a part of Risky Behavior ENT.
Risky behavior.
How y'all doing? Welcome back to Risky Behavior ENT. I am your humble host, Mr. Diabolical himself. Today's title is In the Trunk, the Celeste Rivas mystery and the D4vd connection. Welcome back. Today on the podcast, on the channel, I will dive deep into the stories that hunt headlines and linger in the shadows. Today's episode is one of the most disturbing and surreal cases I've ever covered. A decomposing body was found in the trunk of a Tesla registered to a rising music star. Now, the victim, a missing 15-year-old girl, the artist, D4vd, or David, known for viral hits like Romantic Homicide. The questions are endless, okay? And the answers, apparently, they're none. Now, this isn't just a celebrity scandal. It's a potential homicide, a missing person case, and a media firestorm. I'll walk you through the timeline, the facts, the rumors, and what might be hiding behind the music. For the first part, we're going to speak about the discovery. So let's start with what we know. On September the 8th, 2025, a Tesla was towed from a street in Hollywood. 2 days later, workers at the impound lot noticed a foul odor. Inside the front trunk, they found a bag containing dismembered human remains. Oh my gosh. And they say that the smell of a dead body is one that you will never forget. They say once you smell it, you know that smell for the rest of your life. You'll never forget it. And that, I can't lie though, there is also and I hope this is not me being inappropriate, but there's a petty part of me that says my oh my, has technology made crime scenes a little different, right? I noticed they said inside the front trunk. When there used to be a time you would never say that, right? Because we, all trunks were in the back of the car or the truck or whatever. And that's just something that stood out to me, how things are changing. And later on, I'll give my thoughts also as far as when it comes to there being no answers and you have all this technology and these new cars, you would think I don't know, you would just think there'd be more answers with all the technology that we have. I even seen on Teslas, they got cameras all around that damn thing that's recording if you ever walk next to it. So anywho, now the body was later identified as Celeste Rivas, a 15-year-old girl who had been missing for nearly 18 months. She was last seen in Lake Elsinore, California. Her identity was confirmed by a tattoo on her right index finger that read, "Shh," a detail her mother recognized immediately. And I'm sure later on we'll get more into that, because they were saying like this girl had a boyfriend whose name just happened to be David, and people are saying, oh, they have the same tattoo on their finger. So like a couple who has matching tattoos,
A body found in a towed Tesla owned by a well-known singer has been identified as a missing teenager from Lake Elsinore. And KCAL's Jasmine Veal went to her neighborhood where many people are still searching for answers.
Her face was posted on missing person flyers and shared across Lake Elsinore.
My youngest one knew her from going to Lakeland Village. When she went missing the first time around, they put flyers around.
For more than a year, the answer they feared most.
It hurts. It hurts.
The LA County Medical Examiner and the Riverside County Sheriff's Department confirming the decomposing remains found in the trunk of a Tesla at a Hollywood tow yard earlier this month were those of missing 15-year-old Celeste Rivas.
Hear somebody lost their kid, it'd break my heart, man.
They say on April 5th, 2024, deputies responded to reports of a runaway at this home. Outside her home Wednesday, her brother did not want to talk on camera, only saying they are grieving. The Tesla is registered to 20-year-old singer David Burke, who rose to fame after a couple of his genre-defying songs went viral on TikTok. He's been performing on a world tour. His latest stop was Tuesday night in Seattle for a 2-night show that's now been canceled at a venue near the restaurant where Danny works.
There was a concert last night for David. Pretty long line. They're selling merchandise. Everyone's there.
We have reached out numerous times, and we still have not heard anything from David himself or his team on this investigation. LAPD Deputy Chief Alan Hamilton tells me, despite this disturbing discovery, no arrests have been made, as there is no indication a crime occurred.
When I met her, she was very lively. Just like all giggly.
This neighbor says she didn't even know Rivas was still missing since she stopped by one of their yard sales last summer.
They said they were about to go to the mall. Yeah. And this was on August 31st of last year. I remember there was a angel jewelry box that she had bought.
The medical examiner says Rivas had a distinct tattoo on her index finger with the letters SHHH.
She had a boyfriend named David. And then they have matching tattoos.
And for this tight-knit community, the search is over, but the questions are just beginning. In Lake Elsinore, Jasmine, VLK Cal News.
You know what? That's another thing that you have to think about. Like when a neighbor says that, hey, you know, I didn't even know that she was still missing, kind of in a way suggesting that maybe the family didn't act like she was missing. That's very interesting, because we do know sometimes family do things to each other. I'm not necessarily suggesting that. I'm just getting into this. I've heard a lot of rumors surrounding this case, and that's the whole reason that I am doing this, is because I said, let me look into this case and try to see and figure it out. And the reason I wanted to do this is because it's been like the amount of just missing people, especially like these children, these young women, is crazy. I was just reading on a story about it was this year alone, they found their 13th body in like the Houston bayous and stuff. And the last person that was found floating in the water was a young African-American woman. She was going to college. I mean, it seems like she was doing well in life. They have her on camera going into the gas station. And then the next camera footage that they showed, she was walking towards the water and she just never came back. And you have these stories of people just missing, or whether the child ran away or whatever. And sometimes you got to be careful with that, because I love true crime. I love looking at these news stories. I'm telling you, I've seen abusive parents claim their child ran away when the child didn't run away. They abused them. Something happened. They hid the body, and then later on the child pops up, and and that's a way sometimes family that is abusive can shift the blame to the child by saying, well, she's missing, but she ran away. So we never know what really happened. But those are some of the things that stand out to me when you speak to a neighbor that says, well, I didn't know this child was still missing, because in their opinion, they didn't act like the person was still missing. But what does that really mean? How close is she to her neighbors? If she's not very close to them, I mean, is she the type of neighbor where they would feel like they should give her any information that's going on in their house or surrounding them? I mean, are they obligated to give updates to a neighbor that they might not be that close to? So I'm just speculating, man. It's just the anxiousness in me to want to know what is going on. Now we're going to go into the next section, which is Who is David? Before we do that, I want to remind you, and I want to thank you for being here with me. Don't forget to thumbs up the video and share. And if you like this content, be sure to subscribe and turn on your notifications. Now, D4vd, real name David Anthony Burke, is a 20-year-old breakout artist who rose to fame on TikTok and SoundCloud. He's open for SZA, performed at Coachella, and has over 30 million monthly listeners on Spotify. So, man, definitely somebody blowing up. You know, I'm a little too old. I don't know who this person is. Haven't heard their music at all, but I'll be sure to look it up after this. Now, at the time of the discovery, he was on tour promoting his debut album, Weathered. The Tesla was one of several vehicles registered to him. LAPD confirmed he's cooperating with the investigation, but no charges have been filed. And of course, you know, people want to know, how did this body end up in the trunk of your car? But if it's several vehicles that he know, I guess technically it is his vehicle if it is registered to him, purchased by him. But of course, this car could have quite possibly never been driven by him. You know, you give it to an assistant, you know, some other artist that is on your team, some other artist or person that's on your team, he might have never even drove that vehicle. It might just been something that he purchased that somebody else was in control of. And I heard rumors that it was stolen or something like that anyway. So, hey.
We're learning more about the possible connection between singer David and a missing teenage girl found dead in the trunk of a Tesla owned by him. Good evening. You're watching LA Live News Tonight. I'm Christine Devine.
Thanks for joining us. I'm Laura Diaz. It was a grisly discovery in a Hollywood tow yard, but we still don't know how the girl died.
However, it was enough to force singer David to cancel the rest of his U.S. tour. Fox 11's Gina Silva is digging into the mysterious connection between the two. Gina.
You know, this is such a disturbing case, and it has garnered worldwide attention. The question is, what happened to Celeste Rivas? A teacher of the late teen girl apparently saw warning signs before tragedy struck.
That's her in my classroom in front of...
A teacher is captured on cell phone video telling his students that Celeste Rivas, the 15-year-old girl found dead inside singer David Anthony Burke's Tesla, had been his student and that he knew she had run away a couple of times.
So when I taught her, she met this dude on social media. He was a rapper in LA.
TMZ was the first to report on the teacher's comments.
There's certainly photo and video evidence that she was most likely with David. They were hanging out together. It's unclear if this was a romantic relationship.
Rivas' teacher put out a video, and it may be the smoking gun in the case.
Nima Rahmani, president of West Coast Trial Lawyers, says the teacher's claims are damaging because Celeste was only 13 when she first went missing in April 2024. If investigators confirm she ran away with David at that time, he would have been 18.
The mere fact that an 18-year-old is in the presence of a 13-year-old who had run away is not unlawful. But if there's any sexual activity, if there was any force or coercion, that could be kidnapping, that could be rape, that could be trafficking. That's the exposure that David has, setting aside the fact that she's now been found dead.
One day after the medical examiner identified the remains in the Tesla as those of 15-year-old Celeste Rivas, LAPD investigators served a search warrant at David's home in the Hollywood Hills on Wednesday night, seizing electronics and computers. Ironically, David first broke into the music scene in 2022. Romantic homicide went viral on TikTok. Social media users are now pointing to his music videos, noting that they feature a woman resembling Celeste. There's also one scene showing a body being placed in a trunk.
Oh, man. Huh. Coincidence? When it comes to homicide, usually not. That is very, 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 very odd. Very, very weird. And when you look at him, he got this whole Addams family look to him and stuff, man. That's crazy. When I was going over his hit single earlier, then I didn't want to say it then, but I was like, man, dude, that's the title of your song. And a girl you was rumored to be in communication with was found in the trunk of your car. And in the video, the actress looks like the girl that was found in the trunk of your car. And in the music video, you put the girl that looked like the girl found in the trunk of your car in the trunk of your car. Oh, man. It's hard not to jump to conclusions, man, when you're looking at these mysteries, man, like this. Oh, my God.
In terms of incriminating evidence, at this point, it is not clear he did anything wrong. It is his car, this victim, this decedent, and he obviously knew each other. They had matching tattoos, but I have not seen anything reported in the media that he was responsible or is responsible for her tragic death.
See, it just confirmed it. Match your tattoos. Match your tattoos. I don't know how you gonna get around that one.
Former prosecutor, now criminal defense attorney Dimitri Gorin, says while the court of public opinion may already believe David was involved in Celeste's death, proving it in court will be far more difficult.
A plausible reason of what happened possibly is that she had access to his car. He travels the world, and somebody, one of her friends, somebody else, harmed her and put her in the car.
David was supposed to perform at the Greek Theater tomorrow night, but his world tour has been canceled. Authorities say he has been cooperative and very helpful throughout the investigation. Christine, Laura?
Nowadays, we're learning more.
Yeah, that makes him look better, shows he's being sensitive, cooperating. Hey, look, let's handle what's the most important thing right now. The tour can wait, and that makes him look good. You know what? I was going to say something similar to that lawyer. This doesn't mean that he had to harm that young lady. The lawyer is correct. It is very plausible that when he's out of town, she has access to some of his things, and somebody could have hurt her and put her in the trunk of that car. I've seen other cases where women who were harmed in their cars, the person puts them in the trunk of their car. So if that's where she goes when she runs away, if something were to happen to her, I'm pretty sure that's where somebody would have put her body to hide it so it wouldn't be noticeable, It's very sad, but I think also no matter what happens, this is something that may hurt him in his career either way. Even like say he has nothing to do with this all. This is just a situation where you have a young lady that runs away all the time. It's still going to be something where people are now going to look like, because people are frowning on this stuff now. Hey, older guy, younger girl, like, come on, bro, you got matching tattoos with her. They're saying that when he would have met her, she would have been 13, he would have been 18. I think now people are going to look at that differently. If you take this back 20 years ago, nobody would even break a sweat on that, but this now is kind of like, oh man, you mess around with that young girl and then she get found in the trunk of your car. It's just kind of something that I don't know if people are going to be able to get over it. If this is something that could hurt his career. And I'm saying like he 1000% ain't got nothing to do with the murder. because people are already talking about this on the internet. That's why I looked at it. He's like, oh man, they got this guy messing around with this young girl. I mean, the way they talked about it, I thought it was an even bigger age gap. And so that goes to show the toleration of these older guys, a guy being older, messing around with a younger, her being a teenager and stuff. I don't know. I don't know what this is going to do to his career, even if he's totally innocent of any crime. Next, we have to go over the timeline of events. Now, it says here Celeste went missing in April 2024. She was last seen leaving her home wearing Hello Kitty sandals and a black sweater. Her disappearance didn't make national headlines until now. Now, the Tesla was abandoned in the upscale Bird Streets area of LA. It sat for 5 days before being towed. That's when the impound lot workers noticed the smell. The body was severely decomposed, making identification difficult. Oh my! That's just so sad, man. Your heart just goes out to the loved ones and the parents, man. Oh man. Because you always are hoping that the person is going to come back home, and even if they don't come back, I'm sure like this is like added trauma to know that somebody just discarded them like garbage, just cut them up and like treated them like trash. Like that's even more just trauma on the fact that you was already worried all this time, hoping they're alive, and then you find out they passed away, but then you find out they passed away like, this, like somebody treated them like that. It's just, my heart goes out to them, seriously.
The body found inside the trunk of an abandoned Tesla registered to the singer David has been identified as 15-year-old Celeste Rivas. The teen was reported a runaway and missing out of Lake Elsinore nearly a year and a half ago. Tonight, a house close to where that Tesla was abandoned was searched. Eyewitness News reporter Tim Caputo is there live now in Hollywood with more. Tim.
And Mark, those CSI investigators literally just left the scene about 10, 15 minutes ago. The police tape finally came off and we were able to come a little bit closer to this house. Now, we don't know at this point what exactly those detectives were looking for, what they got out of that house. We saw them pull evidence and put it into an SUV, essentially where I'm standing right now. We don't even know why they were here in the first place, but this house just happens to be literally feet away from where that Tesla was found. A dozen LAPD investigators took a computer and other items from this Hollywood home just a block away from where an abandoned Tesla was found with a dead teenager in the trunk. Police spent hours at the home on Dehaney Place, placing several evidence bags into an SUV, but they wouldn't say if or how it was connected to the Tesla. Several homeowners say they remember seeing that distinct Tesla for a while. First parked in front of the house police searched today, then at two different spots on the street.
It's a little weird to see a car that I haven't seen here for a long time. Had a big dent on it, had a Texas plate on it. So all a little odd, but at the same time, people could be hanging out with friends for a long time.
That abandoned Tesla was towed earlier this month, and workers at a Hollywood tow yard noticed a foul odor and found decomposed human remains wrapped in a garbage bag inside the car. We now know the young woman found dead was 15-year-old Celeste Rivas, according to the medical examiner, the same teen who was reported missing from Lake Elsinore last year.
And I was wondering too, like, how was somebody just moving the car around like that? That's just something that stands out to me. It makes me wonder, was she given the key to that car, and whoever attacked her or did this to her used her key to move it around? Or is it somebody who knows the owner of the car, somebody who was given permission to drive that car around? Like, what's the connection? Because I don't know. I've had friends, rent Teslas, and I think one time he lost the key and it was hell. I mean, he had to abandon the car and jump through hoops just to try to get another key, try to get this car to move around and stuff like that. And I just remember how difficult it was. And I was like, how is it? So when they was talking about the car being moved around in position, I'm like, well, who had the key? Unless I'm wrong and there's some other way to do this. I'm not very familiar with Teslas, but just from that experience of like leasing one, I just saw that it was difficult. It wasn't just a car you can just steal. It's technology. It's so many ways to lock it down. You can call Tesla and have them start it up for you so you can move it and get it out the way to safety if you need to and stuff, or move it from a certain spot to another spot. It's just so much rumbling through my head right now. Forgive me, I'm rambling. But that's something like, how was I able to just move the car around if the owner wasn't nowhere around? If the owner wasn't nowhere around, did he give her a key? Or was it somebody who had permission to drive the car? Did they have a key?
At a corner store in town, the owner recalled her coming in often.
She always quiet, nice. She come in like if she buy like a chips, soda, and leave. Sometimes she come with a friend from the neighborhood.
Eyewitness News has learned Rivas had run away from home a few times. She was last reported missing in spring of 2024. Those who knew Rivas, who just turned 15 a week and a half ago, say she was bubbly and sweet.
She just seemed very lively and friendly, a typical teenager.
The medical examiner hasn't determined her cause of death, but part of the police investigation will be speaking to the owner of that Tesla, a musician who goes by David. His real name, David Anthony Burke, from Houston, Texas. David, made popular via social media for the songs Romantic Homicide and Here With Me, began the American leg of his world tour on July 30th and has continued performing since the investigation began. Tonight's show, though, in Seattle was canceled. The medical examiner also trying to determine how long Rivas had been dead, but based on the condition of the body, it might have been a while. Those who saw the Tesla this summer and watched LAPD spend hours in this well-to-do Bird Streets neighborhood are rattled by everything that's happened here.
It's scary to think that this is happening. And this is a beautiful neighborhood, it's very nice, beautiful, expensive homes, and we would think that we'd be safer.
Interesting note, the home here behind me that detectives have been focused on the better part of today has 2 cameras above the garage as well as a ring camera. In fact, this entire neighborhood has pretty extensive security system, with many of the homes having several cameras. We do know from a couple neighbors I spoke with earlier that police were here last week asking to review or see some of the security camera footage. We don't know if they got anything, if it's helped the case. As to this point, LAPD has been extremely tight-lipped about this entire investigation. We're live tonight in Hollywood. Tim Caputo.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. If that car was being moved around, who had the key to do it? And never mind that. You would have to see the person walking up to the car, walking away from the car. They should be able to catch or see somebody moving that vehicle around. If it wasn't, they said it was, and it just sit in the same spot. And you know what? This story is just giving me a crazy, weird vibe. It's almost kind of like, remember they had that young lady that went missing and then all of a sudden she turned up found, but she was married to, what's the Marcus Houston? Remember that girl? It's one of those vibes, right? Like it's crazy insane where, you have these young girls, they're coming up missing, and then they're just popping up later on with these older guys or whatever that people are saying, well, hey, they were dating, so let's move along. The next part that we need to go over is rumors, tattoos, and a song called Celeste is the title of this next part. Now, here's where things get strange. According to the independent D4vd, David and Celeste allegedly had matching tattoos. My bad, I'm hitting my mic. It's kind of hard to do it. Tattoos. Her mother told TMZ that Celeste had been dating someone named David. Now, and then there's the song. It's a track titled Celeste was leaked on SoundCloud in 2023 and credited to David. Now, I know you might want to ask yourself, was this song about her? Was it a coincidence? A lot of the fans are speculating wildly, and it's crazy. All the coincidences. When does it just everything I'm saying too is I'm gonna say allegedly to protect myself. That's what they say you're supposed to say. I noticed Tasha K says it a lot, so I'm gonna say it a lot, allegedly, right? When do coincidences stop being a coincidence and start being evidence? That's the question for today. When does it become evidence?
There is this story. Oh my gosh. Okay, update us on. There's a singer. His name is David, right? It's D4vd. That's his stage name, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And this gruesome discovery. Get us updated here.
Yeah, I mean, I've never seen or heard of a story like this before. So this guy, David, like you said, is a popular singer. He is up and coming. I mean, working with some really big acts. 20 years old. On September 8th, there was a body, a decomposing and dismembered body. That's as far as I'll go there with that. But found in a Tesla in Los Angeles that was registered to him. The car was never reported stolen, never reported missing. It was on the street. It was towed. And it was taken to an impound lot, and then there was, a foul smell that was coming from the car, and ultimately police were called. They find this body. They don't know even at that point if it's a male or a female. They know nothing. They through a number of different kind of means of the investigation, they're able to identify the person, and it turns out it was a 15-year-old girl named Celeste Rivas. So that's new. That's just a day or so old that the police have identified her. She went missing when she was 13 years old in April of 2024, only 13 years old. So David obviously has not been named a suspect, not even a person of interest, but police want to talk to him and try and understand, hey, why was this body found in this car that, again, is registered to you? And now there's some reason to suggest that they may have had some sort of romantic relationship. So we talked to the mom last week, and the mom was terrified. She thought this might be her daughter because one of the identifying things one of the marks they were trying to use to identify this girl was that she had a tattoo on the inside of her right index finger that said SHHH. And this mom knew that her daughter had that tattoo. And she was, again, very worried that this was her daughter. And in fact, it was. David has that same tattoo. Mom said that she wasn't sure about David the singer, but that her daughter had a boyfriend named David. So, a lot of things here for police to kind of wade through. But again, it's just a shocking and a strange story.
Wait, you said he's not a suspect?
I mean, if the police deem him that, you know what I mean? I think that would, kind of fall under official language. Do they want to talk to him? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. And
it's like, they said she'd been missing since she was 13. She'd be 15 now. They found the body. So it's like, I'm pretty sure they're going to be wondering, hey, where she was for 2 years. Has she been with him? Has he been hiding her out and she been staying with him, or, other family members? Maybe she was staying with cousins, friends. Who's she been around, and how long has she been passed away? This is just all creepy. It's just creepy. And without all the answers, your mind runs wild trying to figure out what happened, what's going on.
And by the way, we have not been told that he's not cooperating. In fact, we've been told that he is going to cooperate. He has cooperated and will cooperate. But again, there are a lot of questions here to be asked. And I think, number one being how did a dead child wind up in your vehicle?
Yeah, absolutely. I was kind of doing a little bit of basic digging because I hadn't heard of David before this whole episode. And the first, Michael, the first video that comes up on YouTube is the first music video. I believe it's called something along the lines of Intimate Homicide or something like that. And the comments, it's odd because the lyrics in retrospect, I mean, the song was posted a couple of years ago, but it's like everybody underneath there is commenting, you know, this is the title of this that didn't age well. Like, I mean, it is eerie to watch. And even the girl depicted in the video itself has this strong resemblance with the victim here. Let me ask you this. I understand TMZ obtained some photos that are placing David near her home. Get us updated there.
Yeah, and we're actually just a few minutes ago posted something else as well. Also has to do with photographs, but she lived about 70 or so miles outside of downtown Los Angeles. Well, there are images of David, and this is not a really popular place or a place where you might expect him to be, but there are images of him before her disappearance, unclear exactly how long, but in that area, just about a third of a mile from where Celeste Rivas lived. So he was right there, I mean, virtually in her backyard. Also, there was a home that this week was raided, investigated, however you want to describe it, in Los Angeles by robbery homicide detectives. And there is reason to believe that David was actually staying at that house. He was definitely there before, because there are many images of him in that same house that was just investigated by the homicide detectives in LA. So he seems to be completely intertwined with this. What was his role, if any? I suppose we will find out. But I mean, it's just grisly details, if nothing else.
And remember, they said the guy was standing out there. He seen the police coming out with bags and stuff of evidence. So yeah, I think they're gonna get to the bottom of this, and I think. I'm gonna say what I think for later on.
When you talked to this girl's mom, did she say that her daughter left home because she had this boyfriend that she wanted to go be with, or was she taken? Did you guys get an idea of like that's?
Yeah, unclear the circumstances surrounding. I mean, I'm sure mom has a little bit more information, but just at least not at that point got into it with us. But I think at the time she was, I think she was going through a lot of emotions. One, she wants to know so desperately where her daughter is, but to think that she may actually be gone, and mom hoping one day she was going to walk back through that door, and to think that that's not going to happen now. I'm sure the emotions she was going through are just, it's got to be awful for mom right now.
All right, Michael, before we let you go, one of the other things that came up were some of his upcoming concert dates. What do you know? What do you know about what's happening there? Are they being canceled, or are they still on?
He is now postponed. Yeah, now he is finally postponed, but at first he didn't. And days after the body was found in his car, and we knew it was his car, he was still performing. Finally, now I think as things have heated up a little bit more, he has finally said, "Hey, I'm going to press pause on this, at least for the time being."
Probably a good idea.
All right,
yeah,
Michael,
I would agree.
Good to see you, sir.
Great to see you guys. Thanks so much.
We'll check back in with the latest headlines hopefully next week, sir. Have a great one.
Not so heavy.
Yep, I think it was a great idea too, man. You would have looked like a straight jerk still out there performing. Anywho, if you're still watching, thank you for joining us. Go ahead, thumbs up the video, get me in the algorithm, and be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. All righty, now let's get into the investigation for a little bit. Now, the LAPD's robbery homicide division is leading the case. Now, they've searched David's Hollywood Hills home. No arrests have been made, and the cause of death is still pending due to decomposition. And so that, that shows how long and the conditions to which her body was kept and left in the trunk. Also, them saying the mutilation of her body, I'm pretty sure, would make it very difficult and extend the process of which it takes to determine cause of death. And so, and it's a very sad thing just thinking about that. Now, meanwhile, David's canceled over a dozen tour dates. His team says he is cooperating, but fans are divided. Some defend him, and others suspect foul play. The internet is ablaze with theories.
A dismembered 15-year-old girl was found in the trunk of his car.
A body was found inside a car at a Hollywood tow lot today.
You're aware this is crazy.
Insane. His 2 remaining dates in LA and San Francisco both scrapped after a concert in Seattle was called off Wednesday. ET can confirm it was the same day authorities searched his Hollywood home.
This video shows crime scene investigators carrying out a laptop.
Tickets are still on sale for the 20-year-old's European shows, which start next month, but it's unclear if David will be able to leave the U.S. by then.
In the back of my mind, you died.
David and his legal team haven't responded to ET's request for comment, but he's reportedly cooperating with authorities and so far has not been charged in the death investigation.
I think them lyrics is haunting him. Yeah, it is so crazy. What's with all this infatuation with death and stuff with these young people? But let me not be trifling and lie. When we was young, we had some similar lyrics like that. I remember when Eminem came out, we was all acting like we hated our moms and stuff like that. But it's just crazy. I mean, to you mixing murder and love up together, and I don't know. He just got some crazy lyrics. His lyrics to me just make me think like my lyrics make me think he did it. In the back of my mind, you died. What the hell? Maybe I gotta go back to being young again to get it.
Which began September 8th, when Celeste Hernandez's body was found in his Tesla.
The body had been placed inside a bag. The grim discovery was made after nearby residents complained about a foul odor.
Workers towed the Tesla to this impound lot in Hollywood, where neighbors say it had been abandoned since the beginning of summer.
Had a big dent on it, had a Texas plate on it, so all a little odd.
Celeste had been missing for over a year, and her body so decomposed it took authorities days to identify her. Her cause of death hasn't been determined, and now investigators are working to retrace her final days and determine her ties to David, whose real name is David Anthony Burke. One linked this tattoo, according
there it go. Whoop, there it is. Whoop, there it is.
To authorities, they both have the word shh inked on their index fingers.
The girl with my name tattooed on her chest.
So this guy has he got a lyric saying, "Oh Celeste, the girl with my name tattooed on her chest." And the body of a young lady, a child, was found in the trunk of your car. And you got matching tattoos with her. And you got songs named after her. I don't know, David. I don't know. You got some explaining to do, buddy.
David also appears to sing about a girl named Celeste in an unreleased song leaked this week.
Missing you so much makes me depressed, but I digress because I love you so much.
Speaking of people looking like they're gonna get in trouble, I hope I don't get flagged for using ET videos. So what? Am I covered under fair use for this? I don't know. Oh well. Let me get to the next. I got another video.
This morning, authorities urgently looking for clues in the death of Celeste Rivas, a 15-year-old girl who went missing more than a year ago. Her remains found inside a Tesla registered to the critically acclaimed singer, David. Investigators executing a search warrant at the home rented by the 20-year-old singer in the Hollywood Hills. Officers seen removing several items, including a computer, according to authorities. The skyrocketing career of the artist born David Anthony Burke now at a standstill. A performance at the Grammy Museum next week no longer listed on their website. He's not been charged with any crime and has yet to make a public statement. Rivas's body was found in the trunk of an impounded Tesla registered to the singer. At this time, investigators still working to determine a cause of death. The teenager grew up in this Southern California neighborhood of Lake Elsinore.
She always quiet, nice. She come in like if she buy like a chips, soda, and leave.
The medical examiner says she had a tattoo reading "shh" on her index finger. David had the same one, a popular design among performers.
One would need to get to the bottom of that to see if, in fact, she had some sort of relationship with him. That still doesn't mean that he harmed her, but it would give you a lot more information as to circumstances of her having interactions with him, and in particular, interactions with his vehicle.
Well, David canceled a tour stop in Seattle, but tickets are still available for his concerts tonight in California. Guys.
Okay, Kana, thanks very much.
This morning,
Oh my gosh. Who knows? Who knows? Who knows? All righty. All right, next, almost done. Now we're going to get into the theories and smoking guns. Now, one of the most chilling developments, a video from Celeste's teacher surfaced where he allegedly discusses her connection to D4vd David. And we saw some of that, but so some are calling it a smoking gun, others say it's circumstantial. I think everything so far is circumstantial. Now, until the autopsy is complete and more evidence emerges, we're left with questions. Was this a tragic accident, a cover-up, or something even darker? And so far, man, all this stuff is just wildly circumstantial. They don't know too much of anything right now. It seems bad. It looks bad. It could mean something bad, or it could be nothing at all, and that's what makes it circumstantial. All right.
Helping now, new details following a grisly discovery in Hollywood. A 15-year-old girl found dead inside a singer's Tesla. Now Fox 11's Gina Silva is digging into their mysterious connection. Gina Silva.
That's her in my classroom in front of...
A teacher is captured on cell phone video telling his students that Celeste Rivas, the 15-year-old girl found dead inside singer David Anthony Burke's Tesla, had been his student and that he knew she had run away a couple of times.
So when I taught her, she met this dude on social media. He was a rapper in LA.
TMZ was the first to report on the teacher's comments.
There's certainly photo and video evidence that she was most likely with David. They were hanging out together. It's unclear if this was a romantic relationship.
Rivas's teacher put out a video, and it may be the smoking gun in the case.
Nima Rahmani, president of West Coast Trial Lawyers, says the teacher's claims are damaging because Celeste was only 13 when she first went missing in April 2024. If investigators confirm she ran away with David at that time, he would have been 18.
The mere fact that an 18-year-old is in the presence of a 13-year-old who had run away is not unlawful. But if there's any sexual activity, if there is any force or coercion, that could be kidnapping, that could be rape, that could be trafficking. That's the exposure that David has, setting aside the fact that she's now been found dead.
One day after the medical examiner identified the remains in the Tesla as those of 15-year-old Celeste Rivas, LAPD investigators served a search warrant at David's home in the Hollywood Hills on Wednesday night, seizing electronics and computers.
In the back of my mind, you died.
Ironically, David first broke into the music scene in 2022. Romantic Homicide went viral on TikTok. Social media users are now pointing to his music videos, noting that they feature a woman resembling Celeste. There's also one scene showing a body being placed in a trunk.
In terms of incriminating evidence, at this point, it is not clear he did anything wrong. It is his car, this victim, this decedent, and he obviously knew each other. They had matching tattoos, but I have not seen anything reported in the media that he was responsible or is responsible for her tragic death.
Former prosecutor, now criminal defense attorney Dimitri Gorin, says while the court of public opinion proving it in court will be far more difficult.
A plausible reason of what happened possibly is that she had access to his car. He travels the world, and somebody, one of her friends, somebody else, harmed her and put her in the car.
David was supposed to perform at the Greek tomorrow night. That has been canceled. In fact, his world tour has been canceled as well. And Christine, authorities are saying that he is being very cooperative. He's helping them with the investigation.
All right, we will continue to follow this one, Gina.
Yeah, I mean, either way, he's gonna have to explain his it just all around looks bad to him. Looks bad for him as far as I'm concerned. I do have I did want to play a video from Law and Crime Network because they are I really like the Law and Crime Network. They're pretty good at what they do, honestly. Putting out videos and covering news stories, and I would feel like I shortchanged y'all if I did not play a video from them. So let me pull this up on my screen. Close that down. Boom, boom, boom. All right. Here we go. And for anybody who doesn't know about it, you know, you can go to Law and Crime Network. Literally just type in Law and Crime Network, and they always, anything you need to know about, man, they do a great job putting these videos, putting their videos together and just gathering information. I find like usually instead of having to click from news article to news article to news article, Law and Crime Network, and a thing that's really good about them too is when they're telling and reporting the news, they also include the like articles, like a lot of times I don't usually just watch what the news puts on TV or on YouTube. I like to go read the articles because a lot of times you get more information by doing that.
The identity of the person found wrapped in plastic discovered in the trunk of a singer's car. We're breaking down the latest and where the investigation stands now, as the singer's rep maintains that he's fully cooperating with the investigation. Thanks for joining us on Law and Crime. I'm Elizabeth Milner. Investigators say the remains were of a 15-year-old girl who was reported missing last year. But even with this new lead at this time, police are keeping tight-lipped if they have a suspect or a person of interest. Earlier this month, employees at a tow yard in Hollywood noticed a strong odor coming from one of the cars. The smell was so strong and foul, they had no choice but to call police. When officers arrived, that's when the startling discovery was made. A body was wrapped in plastic and dumped in the vehicle's trunk. When investigators dug into who that car belonged to, they learned it was registered to the singer David, whose real name is David Anthony Burke. Officials say that the car was towed from the Hollywood Hills after someone reported it missing. Investigators believe that the body was put in the trunk about 5 days before it was towed to the impound lot. Now, initially, we didn't know much, including who was the victim. Did the victim have ties to the singer? Was the singer a person of interest or a suspect? We're still waiting to learn more, but now investigators reportedly identified who the victim is. We're learning this week that the Los Angeles County Department of Medical Examiner ID'd the victim as a 15-year-old girl named Celeste Rivas. According to LAPD, the victim was 5'2", had wavy hair, and a tattoo on her right index finger that says shh. She was found wearing a tube-top, black leggings, an earring, and a yellow metal chain bracelet. According to a report by TMZ, though, the singer David also had that exact same tattoo on his right index finger. But that doesn't necessarily equal murder suspect. It might be an odd coincidence, especially with other celebs like Lindsay Lohan, Rihanna, and Lily Allen sporting the same tat. Here's what else we know about 15-year-old Celeste. Her mom told local reporters she had been missing for more than a year. Her mom said when she saw the news of the body found in David's Tesla, it was suspicious to her because her daughter's boyfriend's name was also David. Little is known at this time about the events leading up to Celeste going missing. According to a missing poster, she was last seen on April 5th of 2024 in Lake Elsinore, California. That was when she was 13 years old. She was last seen wearing gray pants, a black sweater, hat, and Hello Kitty sandals. Attorneys for the singer say that he continues to cooperate with the investigation. While authorities haven't publicly said that he is a suspect, that hasn't stopped some people from jumping to their own conclusions. Some eagle-eyed fans pointed to David's previous songs as some kind of clues or messages, like Romantic Homicide, for example. His lyrics include, "In the back of my mind, I killed you, and I didn't even regret it. I can't believe I said it, but it's true. I hate you." Now, that song was released in 2022, 2 years before Celeste went missing and 3 years before her body was discovered. But again, it didn't stop some people from speculating. Then, in another report from TMZ released Wednesday, the singer professed his love to someone named Celeste in an unreleased song. According to the report, those unreleased tracks included the lyrics, "Oh Celeste, the girl with my name tattooed on her chest. Smell her clothes like cigarettes. I hear her voice each time I take a breath. I'm obsessed." The other verse included the lyrics, "Oh Celeste, afraid you'll only love me when undressed, but you look so damn gorgeous in that dress. Missing you so much makes me depressed, but I digress because." Now, according to the report, that song was leaked in December of 2023, just months before Celeste was officially reported missing. And it's important to note, no official confirmation Celeste in the leaked song is the same Celeste found in the car. Companies like Crocs and Hollister pulled their marketing campaigns after Celeste's body was discovered too. In a joint statement, the brands wrote, "We are aware of this developing story. With respect to the current situation, we have removed campaign content featuring David while the investigation continues." According to a previous report by TMZ, it was police who told David that there was a body inside his Tesla because he had no idea what was going on. But it's still unclear how the car registered to him ended up in a tow lot if it wasn't even reported missing. Again, the singer's rep says that he has been cooperating, but we learned today he's pausing his current world tour. According to TMZ, he was supposed to hit the stage in Seattle for a concert, but sources tell the outlet that concert was canceled and the rest of his tour is on pause. Following the latest in the investigation, ABC7 Eyewitness News reports a house close to where the Tesla was abandoned was searched. Dozens of investigators were reportedly seen taking a computer and other items from a home in Hollywood. Some homeowners told the news outlet they remembered seeing that Tesla for a while, either parked at the house where police conducted their search or at other spots on the same street. But as of this recording, he isn't named as a suspect, and no criminal charges have been filed against him. So the mystery and investigation continues. I'm joined now by retired FBI agent Colin Schmidt. Colin, thank you so much for joining me. What's your reaction to this latest development as the medical examiner says that the body found in the trunk was a 15-year-old girl?
Well, it looks like it's a terrible, terrible tragedy for That 15-year-old girl's family is obviously the victim. And the fact that she was found in a trunk, it indicates that there's some level of foul play with this. And it's only going to get more interesting and probably more tragic as the story comes out.
And I think probably, the biggest part of this story is that the car that the victim was found in was registered to a very popular singer. And we know that the singer is cooperating with the investigation, and officials haven't named him as a suspect or a person of interest. But in your opinion, with the information that we know now, do you think that he has anything to do with it?
Well, the problem is for whoever did this, a Tesla is nothing more than a rolling supercomputer. Mm-hmm. So it's going to have all kinds of information in there when they get and when the engineers get in and get all the data. So I'm confident they're going to know exactly what happened in a very short period of time. And then the fact that there's such a close connection between the decedent and this rapper, it's only going to get more interesting, like I said, as far as what really happened.
And it's interesting, too, kind of the circumstances as we're learning more, because the victim's mom even told police that she got suspicious it was her daughter because her daughter also had a boyfriend named David. Do you think that that's just a terrible coincidence? And also, we're learning that they both had this tattoo on their index finger with the letters "sh" written on it, kind of similar to a lot of other celebrities, especially kind of in the millennial era, who also had that same tattoo. But do you think this is all just a terrible coincidence?
Well, unfortunately, in violent crime, there's no such thing as a coincidence. It's a coincidence is actual circumstantial evidence. Mm. So all these data points are starting to point towards this rapper. We don't know what his role was, and if indeed he did have anything to do with it. But it does appear that there's some sort of culpability that this rapper is going to have with this girl's death.
And where does the investigation or investigators really go from here? They know the identity of the victim. The cause of death right now is listed as deferred, but what happens next?
Well, the most important piece of evidence is the body. The body tells the entire story. So, as I understand it from social media, that the medical examiner has not finished their investigation. And then the next step of that would be obviously the toxicology reports, which take a couple of days to a couple of weeks to get back. And then that's going to point the investigators in the direction of where to take their next steps, as well as the search of the interior of the compartment that she was found in and the passenger compartment. Because if there was any blood or any signs of foul play or violence, then that obviously points into a direction that they need to go.
And what's going to be more important to the investigation, finding out what happened inside that car, if anything happened inside that car, or the forensic evidence in the car, or is it going to be finding where the scene of the crime actually took place and kind of working backwards really from there?
Well, working backwards is from the body, and the body will start is basically points all the directional arrows, so to speak, on where to go, and then from there, obviously, they go and do a forensic analysis of that car. And then, like I said, the most important piece of that car is that onboard computer, which has so much information that even Tesla owners don't know what the extent of the information that car has on it. And I'm fairly confident that the owner of the car wasn't sophisticated enough to know how to wipe or to get rid of that information that's on that car.
Does it change anything? We know the Tesla car is kind of like a smart car. And even though I'm not as technologically savvy as you are, Colin, I'm interested in knowing, does it change anything in terms of the investigation because the car was towed over into that impound lot? Does that change anything in terms of the data that might be on that car or anything like that?
No, I mean, when the car is on, it's gathering thousands and thousands of data points. Now, it was off. Basically, we can presume that it was on up until the time it was towed. So they know where it was when it was towed to that. So the tow part isn't really mean anything other than chain of custody. So from the time that it was sitting there or towed back 24, 48, or even 2 weeks, they're going to be able to know exactly where that car was, whether it was an accident. There's even cameras, interior and exterior, that are taking footage. So they're going to end up likely knowing who was in the car prior to it being disposed of.
And say, because we know that this is also, again, a very big story because it kind of surrounds the singer David because the car was registered to him. But say investigators learned, he has been cooperating with the investigation. Again, he hasn't been named as a suspect or anything like that. But say investigators learned that he was out on tour, or he was at an event or something. He has an alibi for the time frame that they believe the murder took place. What happens next in terms of how they find possibly who might else be involved in this?
Well, they're also going to find her phone. Possibly, they didn't say whether the phone was on her or not. And then the phone obviously is, especially for a 15-year-old, her whole life is in that phone. So they're going to be able to establish her circle of friends and start interviewing all of those people, as well as interviewing all the people around this rapper to see this music artist, just to see if they know anything and they know what exactly happened. I mean, the bottom line is you don't crawl into a car and close the hood. Somebody had to have put her in that car, whether she was alive or dead when it happened. That will be something that the investigators will definitely find out. And I believe it happened in LAPD territory. Correct. And they're considered the best homicide investigators in the world. So I have absolute certainty that they're going to determine who did this or what happened.
And even that whole other aspect, because again, we're just learning this information pretty much today, is that she was reported missing about a year ago. How important is that time frame of when she was missing and how long of a period that was? How will that kind of play into her death investigation?
Well, I think that's important that the family lost track of her a year ago, but it still comes right back to that car and what was going on in the car prior to the tow truck picking it up, and then being able to establish the timeline. So in any investigation or violent crime investigation, the timeline is the most important. So they're going to have a timeline starting from when the car was found or when it was reported, and they'll go back 24, 48, or even 2 weeks, and they'll be able to identify every place that car was and likely where she was. And that'll be, with that, they'll be able to fill in the blanks and then identify who was involved in her death. Now, she may have not been killed. She may have died of a drug overdose and somebody put her in the car. Either way, somebody's responsible for her being in that vehicle.
Yeah, and I'm sure investigators and even her family are trying to find out what happened to her, if they can gather any type of details to figure out what all had happened. Colin, I want to thank you so much for your time and your insight into this case. I did have one final question for you. In terms of investigating a case like this, where you have very little to go off of, how different is it to investigate a case like this now in 2025, where you have surveillance cameras, you have smart cars that gather all this technology and information, as opposed to maybe like 20 years ago, where we didn't have all this technology readily available like we do now?
Well, I think it kind of on its face, it appears cognitively that it should be easier, but in fact, it's actually harder because the investigators are just overloaded with data and information. And at some point, AI will probably be taking a role in these kind of investigations to sift through the mountains of data that these investigators receive from their court orders to Tesla or.
Oh my gosh, that is like an amazing idea. That as we go further into technology, AI will be able to step in and help probably get answers, quicker than what a human would be able to. That's an amazing thought, man. Like, oh my gosh.
To the iPhone or wherever to kind of be able to filter out all the noise and be able to get to the point. 20 years ago, it was a matter of just going and interviewing people and getting their story. Now it's a whole different story with all these data points that investigators have to sift through.
And so with that being said, do you see that there might be a possibly end in sight in terms of the investigation anytime soon, or do you think that this might be a very long investigation?
Well, based upon it was in a Tesla, I would speculate that it's not going to be long. If it was in like a Mustang from the 60s that has no onboard computing ability, it would be kind of a different story. But like I said, that Tesla has so much data in it and there's so many tools out there that will aid the investigators on getting through that data. I expect that they likely will quickly know exactly what happened to that girl.
sure, and I hope that they find out soon what happened to her, because it's just devastating overall, just how horrible this case truly is. Again, Colin Schmidt, thank you so much for your time and insight into this case. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Investigators are still working to find Celeste's cause of death, but LAPD says they are investigating the
Okay. Um. Oh man, I might have messed up. I think I had I think I had like one more video that I did want to play before I ended it, just in case. So they're saying like some updates. And let's see. They say it was a major development in the case. I don't know if it's going to say anything actually. All right, let me share my screen. Let me share my screen. Apologize for the delay. Boom.
TMZ Live, big developments in the case involving the singer David and the girl who was found dead in the trunk of his Tesla. Notably, we broke a lot of stories yesterday, but one of the big ones was we were able to talk to a teacher who taught Celeste Rivas and had a lot to say.
Yes, he opened up to his current class. Now, this teacher says he taught Celeste a couple of years ago when she was in middle school.
Okay, so this is more on the teacher. I'll play it just in case.
But once he saw all the stories that we were breaking, he decided he wanted to share his information, his what happened when Celeste was in his class with his current class. So what you're about to see is the teacher doing a little show and tell with all he knows about Celeste and David and how they met.
That's her in my classroom in front of this poster right here. She's been missing since I taught her. So when I taught her, she met this dude on social media. He was a rapper in LA. He came and got her. She ran away from home. She was gone for like a month. The cops found her in Hollywood, brought her back to our school. She came back to our school, kind of told people this story. She disappeared again in May of that year. And then I found out yesterday that she's now dead in that rapper's car, cut into pieces. You want to know how they met? I feel like I just said it. Social media.
So he said, it sounds like he was saying this, and we spoke to him, and it sounds like he was telling the class this almost as a cautionary tale about social media and going to social media. But in the process, it's interesting, he said she ran away in January, he came back, and then ran away again, or at least disappeared again.
And that tracks with what we had seen as far as missing a missing children's poster that we saw. There was one earlier in the year, and then there was the one in May of 2024. So.
And we did confirm, too, that he was, in fact, a teacher at her school at that time when she used to go to school in Lake Elsinore. He is no longer a teacher there. So when he was referring to, oh, you see this photo of her with the poster, that's the poster here. So it's not his current school. He's now teaching in a different district.
I think that's why the video went so viral, too, is it kind of came across like he was kind of like clout chasing. Yeah, being like, oh, look, she was in my class, but he cleared the air with us.
Well, honestly, we thought.
I think he confirmed the fact of who she was with. If he says that, hey, she ran away and then she came back, and when she came back, she told us all who she was with. I think that's the most important thing that he said. Whether he clout chasing, whatever they want to say, he said that she made it very clear that she was with this rapper that she met on social media. So I think that's the most important thing. When they're questioning him, that's something he won't be able to deny. He will have to explain that relationship to the police, is that when she ran away and came back, she told everybody how she was with you.
About that when we saw the video,
sure,
right? This
yeah.
was odd that this teacher was sort of bragging about his connection.
I'm still not
and
sure
then we
that
talked to him to clear it up.
I'm still not sure that that's like a good conversation to have with your science middle school class. And that's why this was originally posted online, was because the students started filming him secretly because they're like, why are we having this conversation? But he felt like he wanted to tell.
Girl, be quiet. When I think this is the sensitive part of the world. Speaking when I was in middle school, when I was in high school, that's what teachers would do when you had a good teacher and something happened, and especially that's a silly thing to say anyway, man. You know what kind of conversation these kids having? The world that these cell phones are opening up to them. I'll be happy for any teacher to have that conversation. I knew this girl personally, y'all. I remember interacting with her. I remember her saying she met a guy on social media and now she's passed away. Y'all need to be careful. Don't meet up with nobody. And that's what all adults should be saying to these children, especially middle school, high school. You should definitely be having these conversations. These kids are growing up fast. This ain't a long time ago when middle schoolers were middle schoolers. These middle schoolers, oh my goodness, man. The stories I've heard from people who teach in elementary school, these kids are doing things that we wasn't even doing in high school. So yeah, I'm okay with him having that conversation. And if you're saying that the students secretly recorded him, he couldn't have been doing it for clout because he didn't record himself. Somebody recorded him.
All his students to be wary on social media.
So there's a lot more to talk about. So we told you there was a search of the home that he appeared to have been staying in the Hollywood Hills. So we now find out that they were testing for blood. There's something called luminol, which can light up a
Everyone's
floor.
seen this on CSI.
Yeah.
That they spray it and it, allows them to see if there are traces of blood, even if it's been cleaned up.
So they were looking, on the floors. They were looking in drains to see if there were any traces of blood. We don't know what the results of the search were, but it's significant because the Tesla that contained her body in the trunk was parked nearby. And so it seems like their working theory is she might have been killed
if she were
in the house.
killed or dismembered in the house and then placed in that car and parked, a block and a half away.
Right. And we should say that the police have not named a suspect yet. The police have not named a person of interest yet, but that doesn't mean they don't have one. They got a search warrant, which means they clearly were able to show a judge that there was probable cause to believe a crime was committed. But the police have been playing this really close to the vest.
We also don't know what David's cooperation has been with cops. We were told early on he was cooperating with cops. Now it seems kind of unclear, but it is kind of interesting because
he's not talking to cops.
Not to say what that sounds.
That's what we're hearing.
We now know. Well, we've got it on pretty good authority. He's not talking to police.
Which you think is maybe normal, what an attorney would say to their client.
Of course,
because I looked at it as, if you have nothing to hide, why would you not go to cops?
You don't look at it that way.
Once now he knows they've searched his house. He knows what they were looking for in his house. Anything he says
is incriminating.
But it is interesting, though, that now they have finally announced that the tour dates he was supposed to perform in San Francisco. Is today the 19th?
Yeah, tonight. San Francisco,
and then,
tomorrow.
No, it was tomorrow at the Greek in
right.
LA. Those have both been canceled. So he's not going to be performing.
Scrubbed from the Grammys.
Scrubbed from the Grammy Museum, which he was also supposed to have an appearance at
And
next
his album,
week.
and his
he
album.
was supposed to be dropping a deluxe album with Interscope, who we now learned that they've pulled all that. So
I mean,
clearly he knows
yeah.
he has a lot going on.
Yeah,
It's not a good look to be on tour.
But the interesting thing is, the label is pulling all official promotion, and he's taken it out of the Grammy Museum for this appearance. But there's still a lot of publicity around his name and his songs.
His streaming.
Well, that's not the only thing that's been pulled, though. It's we also reported this morning that those bloody shirts, the bloody clothings that were a part of his act and a part of some of his songs and the music videos, they're not available anymore.
Well, and it's interesting. The songs are, the titles of these songs are just romantic homicide, which, by the way, is the
number one streaming
Yeah.
song for him right now.
Right.
Coincidence, but a creepy one.
So we also got, look, a lot of people are wondering, what was the relationship between this 15-year-old girl and this 20-year-old guy? And this goes back maybe to when she was even 13 and he was 18.
Right.
So we were able to get some video of the two of them together. So we've seen photos, and now we've got video of
them on a live stream where they're interacting with some of his fans. It's a short clip, and so it's hard to make out what they're talking about. But at one point, he does say to the moderators of the chat that we should make sure when this is done, don't leave it up. So I don't know what was being said during the chat because we've only seen that brief clip.
Well, she's pointing at some comments. I think people were making comments. You can't tell which one she's pointing at, but clearly he
also don't know when this.
He didn't want this to be clipped and go out anywhere.
So the way this works is, sometimes the LAPD will be really open about an investigation, and they'll kind of lay out what they've got. They'll hold a press conference. They have done they are holding this as close to the vest as just about any case I've ever seen.
And you're right, but it reminds me of the Brian Kohberger case where everybody was on the police saying, you are not giving us any information, you're bungling this case, and then they came out with a very airtight case, which resulted in no trial.
The difference with Kohberger is that with Kohberger, you didn't know anything about who may have done it. In this case, and I'm not saying he did because he is not a suspect yet, as far as we know, David, but people are looking at David. So I think it's different.
And Kohberger, we didn't know anybody at all.
Anybody at all.
Hello, everybody. My name is Kamar from Atlanta. So my question would be, what else do they need to do to say, hey, he's now considered a suspect? Because we see the video, we've seen everything on social media, and then the teacher even did it.
He's not a suspect unless they can tie him to the woman in the trunk and say he did it. Right. That's when he becomes.
Not necessarily. That's not how it goes. A suspect is we suspect you of a crime. You could have 2, 3, 4, 5 suspects at the same time. Have you tied any of them to the crime? Not really. Got a strong suspicion. But yeah. No. He probably is a suspect and they just ain't telling nobody. I guarantee you they suspect him. They just not making it public. Honestly, it should be pretty obvious. But yeah, so that's it so far. So this case is still unfolding. We'll be watching closely and updating you as new details emerge. For now, let's remember Celeste Rivas, a young girl whose story deserves justice. And I ask, what happens when fame, mystery, and tragedy collide? Stay curious, stay critical, and stay safe.
Risky behavior.